Good afternoon, everybody. So this session is on green hydrogen specifically, and we have very seasoned speakers with us. And talking little about green hydrogen, it has gained momentum specifically after National Green Hydrogen Mission 2023, which was signed by the Cabinet in January. And this mission has a total outlay of 19,000 CR with 400 CR of R&D budget. And it has different scopes. There is Center for Excellence, then research on vendor development, normal research projects, and Hydrogen Valley. You must be knowing all these things. So it's in the, we can say in the nascent stage also, and we can say it is developing. So green hydrogen, basically the definition is 2 kg of CO2 per kg of hydrogen produced. So the point is that whether you are, it's not the, hydrogen is anyway colorless gas. So it's the basic process, how much CO2 is being emitted out from your end to end. That defines it as a green hydrogen, whether it qualifies to be a green hydrogen or not. And presently, as far as the ministries are concerned, MOPNG, MNRE, and definitely CST as a body to take forward this mission are working on this. And we need, everybody is talking about electrolyzers. 90% of the research is on electrolyzers, how to reduce the cost for electrolyzers and enhance the productivity. But there is a biomass route also. We can go for gasification, biomass reforming, then you have biohydrogen. So India being blessed with the biomass, but again the thing is how do you segregate, in biomass it's not exactly the segregation, it comes under MSW, but the point is how do you collect that biomass for a centralized location and convert it into green hydrogen. That is a challenge for biomass. Otherwise, whether it's gasification or biomass reforming, that's that TRL level can be increased. TRL level, even if it is 4 or 5, India is sufficient enough. We have plenty of companies across India who can take forward. So in my view, it's not the TRL level, it's the collection of biomass, which is a big challenge in case of biomass to hydrogen. Otherwise, biohydrogen or green hydrogen by gasification route, these all have their own merits and demerits. So that is a point of debate, and we can definitely work upon it. So we have Shyam Gupta ji, Tapan Bera ji, and Utkarsh Mehta ji with us. And hello, sir. Good afternoon to all of you. So they will definitely shed a very good light on how the green hydrogen should be there. And we all will be blessed to hear from them about their views on the green hydrogen. So let me start with Tapan Bera ji. Tapan ji, we have IOCL R&D and we are having R&D center, new R&D center. So how do you think IOCL can be a torch bearer for green hydrogen in future, in the research of green hydrogen specifically?
Thank you. So first of all, thank you to Massive Frankfurt to organize this 7th Refining Summit on the topic which is navigating green and sustainable future, which is very relevant. I thanks to them for inviting India to share the dais. So it said it's time for hydrogen. Earlier also there are many waves of interest on hydrogen, but they all lean out with time. But this time, after COP26 and COP28, I think every country, every nation throughout the globe has shown their commitment for hydrogen with respect to the energy challenge, environmental challenge, and global warming. So Indian Oil, as a company, we are the torch bearer of hydrogen research. Actually, we started our research on hydrogen early in 2005, and we set up our first hydrogen dispensing station of the country in our center, and still the station is under operation. And then we updated and we set up another hydrogen station over there. And we are working on many technologies on hydrogen because we want to indigenize all the component of hydrogen economy, say it production, storage, and its utilization. So production side, we are doing many research. So we are betting basically 3 technologies. First is the CBG reforming. So it is CBG is available in the country. So and the reforming technology is very mature in the refinery. So CBG reforming technology, we are setting up a pilot plant of capacity like 10 kg per hour in our new energy campus, which you are saying. So then second technology is the biomass gasification, because country has a lot of biomass as it is said, but there are many challenges. But still we found it will be the cheaper option. The technology has been demonstrated in pilot scale at capacity of 5 kg per hour. We are in the process of doing the BDEP, Basic Design and Engineering package for 10 kg per hour, and we are also plan to set up one biomass-based refinery in Northeast, because bamboo is available there. So bamboo-based biomass gasification refinery in our Digboy refinery. So the process is under process. And third technology is the conventional electrolysis technology. We set up in our second campus like 1 megawatt of solar PV plant. Then in that plan, we'll evaluate all the technologies of electrolysis, be it alkaline, PM, or SOAC. So all types of electrolyzer we are going to set up. The total capacity is about 95 nm³ per hour. And we'll evaluate all the technologies. This is on hydrogen production side. Then on storage side, we are working on composite cylinder. As you know, in a vehicle, hydrogen is stored in a composite cylinder, because it is stored under 350 to 700 bar actually. So we are working on composite cylinder like type 3 cylinder already we have developed. We started working on type 4 cylinders also. On utilization part, we are working on fuel cell technologies. We are betting on fuel cell technologies. And currently, we have developed 15 fuel cell buses in association with Tata Motors Limited. And the buses are running in Delhi. 8 buses actually, including 2 buses which we have gave to Navy, Indian Navy and Army. So 8 buses, these buses are running in Delhi. 4 buses we have given to our Gujarat refinery. And refinery, we have a gray or blue hydrogen dispensing station, and those buses will run over there. And 3 buses are under commissioning actually. So target is to run 3 lakh kilometers of bus coverage in next 6 months. We have already covered 40,000 kilometers. So, and we'll share all the data with respect to efficacy, operational performance, durability of the fuel cell stack. All the data will generate. And I hope all this work will contribute towards the Atmanirbhar Bharat, which is the goal of our Honorable Prime Minister. So we are working on those technologies. And of course, our new energy campus, which the moderator asked, and we will be the lead because we are investing almost 3,000 crore in the new energy campus. And campus is almost ready. By next year, it will be ready. And this campus will bet on basically on four directions. Means one is the alternative and renewable energy. Second is the nanotechnology. Third is the bioenergy. And fourth is the corrosion engineering. So I hope Indian Oil will be the torch bearer with respect to the hydrogen ecosystem research and on process development, and it will help the whole fraternity of oil and gas sector of the country. Thank you.
Thank you, Tapasji. And good to know that IOCL is working on CBG reforming and gasification. And if we look at the spectrum, then production, storage, as well as utilization. So I hope IOCL is covering all the aspects on this. So now my question is to Shyam Gupta ji. Just I want to know that in this scenario of green hydrogen, how do you perceive Reliance goals in the changing scenario in the next decade or so, the energy transition which will occur after these renewables? So the energy basket diversification of Reliance industry per se, how do you perceive that?
So I would first like to thank Messe Frankfurt, Herman and team for having me out here. This topic is quite apt in the present scenario when most of the countries are struggling with the biggest problem of energy security and, of course, volatility in the traditional fuels. So one of the solution which is upcoming is, of course, green hydrogen that is being seen as solution for several things in order to either decarbonize or becoming energy secure, or having the solution for renewable variability, whatever the duck curve formation that happens during the renewables. Now the question is, what is actually green? And that is not well known as of now in order to really integrate this particular fuel as fungible fuel in the energy mix. So the biggest challenge is, what is the definition? As Ritesh was trying to say, Dr. Ritesh was saying that it is 2 kg per kg. Right. Is it right? Can we generalize it? So I'm just trying to say that this is, of course, right, particularly from the Indian perspective. But if you're looking at the global market, every market has its own definition. So one of the important aspects is what is actually green. And that is where we feel that if that uniform definition could be evolved, would be very much helpful in order to reduce the cost. And that is the biggest barrier, because wherever you go, whether in this country or across the globe, you will always find that there are suppliers, there are logistics operator, infrastructure developer. What is missing in the puzzle is the off-takers. And that is where the problem lies in. So having these kind of challenges in mind, what we feel is, can we think about something which is actually solving the purpose along with the affordability? And if that could be amalgamated properly, probably we can create the business model which is workable for not only in India, across the globe. So it is not only Reliance. In fact, most of the companies are trying to do the same thing. And at this front, how we can optimize, that is the first lever we need to leverage. How we can have the scale, how we can optimize the PC, how we can have standardization and modularization whenever we are going to go ahead with green, that is so-called electric route green. On the other hand, we have discussed a lot about the bio route as well. So bio route is again very promising, but the imminent challenge is how we are going to manage the entire supply chain, be it aggregation, be it densification, that is again getting stored somewhere across the value chain. And thereafter, if some changes happen in the biomass, how you are going to modify, and thereafter during the rainy season, which is of course very much prevalent across the country. So these are the challenges towards the biomass supply chain. If that could be well addressed, and that is where we are trying to, intervene and get a kind of a scale which can definitely start assuring the feedstock availability. Once that is available, probably rest of the things can be done by the improvement either in anaerobic digestion system or gasification route. So that is on the bio. On the other hand, whenever we are talking about E-based green hydrogen, that is again, as I told, we need to have the scale. At the same time, we are also looking into what kind of improvements we can come across, particularly in terms of using energy efficiency in the electrolyzer segment. Because having this 47 to 50 at the system level, kilowatt hour per kg, is not the kind of solution which most of the industry would be looking for, whether it is refining or fertilizer or mobility. Of course, at the pilot scale, probably we can definitely march ahead to a certain extent. However, to have the scale where we can adopt this green hydrogen, be it bio route, be it electricity route, as the main fuel, we need to have cost competitiveness and affordability, and that can come only when you have the optimization, modularization, and standardization at every place. And that is where R&D, technology, and recent development needs to be ramped up in such a way that we could reach to the point which is, if not totally at par with whatever is the traditional fuel, at least tries to minimize the gap to the extent possible. And that is where we have been trying to do all these aspects. Thank you.
Thank you, Shyamji, for shedding light on how you perceive green hydrogen. And he is very correct in saying that there should be a uniform standardization across the globe for green hydrogen. And for biomass, definitely, if it is densification, then it adds to a new energy-intensive process. So that's the thing that if you're going for a gasification and you are transporting biomass to long distances to a centralized location, then that densification is a problem. But that problem is solved when we are talking about reforming, because in case of reforming, you need to produce first the bio oil. So that bio oil can be produced at the field itself, and then as a normal crude, that bio oil can be transported to a centralized refinery or a fertilizer plant wherever you can. And good to know about your view, sir. And now we have Utkarsh Mehta ji. And sir, I just want to know, how do you perceive the shift in, now presently, as it is said that the green hydrogen pricing will be around about 500 or 520, or if you're talking about from biomass, it will hover around 300 or 400, but still it is greater than gray hydrogen. So as the time will come, there will be vendor development and everything. How do you perceive how the prices will, rationalize between green and gray? Because ultimately, whenever somebody is putting up a plant, they definitely goes for economics. A researcher may say that this should happen or that should not happen, but whenever you are putting up a plant, final thing boils down to economics. So no venture capitalist will put up his or her money in a plant which is uneconomical. So how do you perceive this pricing scenario in next 5 years?
Thank you, Dr. Ritesh. Am I audible?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, so first of all, good afternoon everyone, and thank you, Mr. Frankfurt, for giving me the privilege to be part of this panel discussion. So yeah, pricing, the most important thing in the overall scheme of things. So let's take it step by step. Obviously, initially it will be driven by the policies of the government, and for the initial few years. So it has to be a step-by-step approach anyway, because this energy transition cannot be at the cost of energy security. So, so the policy, which is the major thing, which is the National Green Hydrogen Mission, which is currently driving a lot of activity in the green hydrogen space in India, including encouraging new companies to come up, both into electrolyzer manufacturing or into development of green hydrogen projects. So with this policy, some of the enabling policy is of ISTS transmission waiver, which will help bring down the cost of hydrogen, say by around $0.7 per kg. The incentive for 3 years, which is like 50, 40, 30 rupees per kg, which will again bring it down by another $0.4 per kg or up to 0.5. But that is for the initial 3 years, while the ISTS charges will help to, this will be waived off for at least 25 years for the project life, basically. And other than that, if the CCTS, basically the carbon credit trading scheme, once it comes up, which is already under the draft stage, it will help to bring down the cost further. So these are the initial few steps which are required to give the push to the industry and manage the cost, manage the pricing of the hydrogen, while the industry evolves and becomes self-sustaining. And that is the idea of the Green Hydrogen Mission also, because while it is about decarbonization, it is also about being self-sustainable and also being a net exporter of the energy. Pricing, when even in export context, if we see that this policy is also going to help produce competitive molecules, while which are the pricing could definitely be higher than the grey hydrogen. It still, like India has its own mission, there is a concerted effort from the countries around the world to adopt these molecules. Some of these countries have mandates and policies towards pushing their own industries to use these molecules. But these countries do not have the capability of producing it at their own, in their own regions. So that is where our export market, there's a potential for exporting also these molecules. using our green electrons, which are the cheapest in the world in terms of our own production cost, and using that green electrons we can produce these molecules and sell it outside. And since about the pricing, one more thing is the ITMOs. Basically, under the Paris Agreement 6.2, this we can trade our this carbon credits can be traded bilaterally between different regions, and so again it will have some impact on the pricing. So while it's definitely going to be more than grey as of now, but then it is also serving a wider cause of climate change, and you can see the price of electricity through renewable energy was around 15 rupees, I believe. 15 years back it has come down to 2.5 to 3 rupees. So as the technology has evolved, as the industry has evolved, so it is always a process, but you have to start from somewhere. Everything, initially the push is from through government policies, but eventually once the technologies, once our own local vendors develop, like we spoke about the National Green Hydrogen Mission, while they have already come out, created the demand through this different side schemes of Mode 1, Mode 2, A, 2, B, around almost 1 million ton of hydrogen. Then at the same time, around 3 gigawatt of electrolyzer manufacturing incentives have also been provided. So the capex side also, a lot of things are being done. This electrolyzer manufacturers are tying up with technology suppliers to produce it locally and deliver these electrolyzers to the projects that are being developed here. So so while I spoke about ISTS and ITMOs and the incentives which will help from the initial push, and the OPEX side, the CAPEX side also, the electrolyzers will have the CAPEX on the electrolyzers will have their own impact as long as we produce it locally and competitively. So yeah, these are my initial thoughts on the pricing.
Thank you, sir. And he rightly said that whenever new ventures, new industries will come up. And I was just reading that now India has the largest startup ecosystem in the world. They are large, I think more than 1 lakh or some figure was there, I think 1,10,000. So definitely all startups, everybody is working on it. So you just throw a problem, there will be many number of people and industries which will be working on this. So definitely the cost should come down. And the second thing is about LCA. If you do life cycle analysis, I was just reading one article that green hydrogen from biomass, in their article they were saying that it is touching around 230 rupees per kg, which is very competent with respect to the grey hydrogen. So definitely, if we even talk about the age group of Indian population, India will be the youngest country in the world. So I believe grey hydrogen and green hydrogen won't compete with each other. They will be complementary to both each other. And the second thing is, somehow I don't understand what this carbon trading is, because after all, it's one planet. So when the glaciers will melt, you won't be able to, restrict the sea level rise for one country or another. So it's my personal view. So definitely carbon trading for developing countries, money coming up from developed countries. So it's acceptable in the economic terms, but somehow if you go on a higher canvas, then climate change will definitely, affect all the countries. So that were my views on this. So coming back to Tapanji, I just want to ask you that you told about your buses running around and HCNG and everything in hydrogen. Yeah. So there must be some specific safety issues you must be dealing up. Can you shed some light on that? Because you are already, providing those buses and technology. You are saying in NCR your buses are running. So how do you perceive the safety issues in that particular aspect? Because that's a very big problem for hydrogen. Not a problem, but a challenge, I must say.
Yeah, it's a good question. So hydrogen is a typical molecule. With respect to it, it has the smallest size. It has high flammability range, low ignition temperature, high flammability. So safety of hydrogen is paramount importance. It's to Indian Oil also and to other users of throughout the world. So, and if you see, we are operating our first hydrogen buses, first station in 2005, and still we are operating without any accidents. And the buses which are running in Delhi, which runs with green hydrogen, also they are running, we have given buses to Navy, Army, the officers are roaming around through those buses. And if you see the news, day before yesterday, Honorable Prime Minister leads one steps where Prime Minister of Bhutan was there in the country, and the buses which he was used, it was our Indian Oil buses, actually fuel cell buses. So it shows our commitment towards green hydrogen with safety. So to the specific question what the moderator asked, so for hydrogen safety, these stations are designed as per the ISO protocol, ISO 1880 like that protocol, and the dispensing stations which are designed as per the standard protocol, international protocol, which is SAE 2601. So already safety is inbuilt in the standards, and we are following the standard. To be specific, all the buses and dispensing station, we have the hydrogen detector at different places. And that detect the hydrogen and it give the alarm and automatically shut down the system actually. So if there is, it detects any leak due to high pressure or whatever may be the reason, so it stops the hydrogen dispensing, it stops the buses. That is the first, and we do regular calibration of these sensors at a regular interval. That is the first thing. And secondly, what we are doing, the points which are prone to the leak, like valves, seals, gaskets, we do a preventive checkup in every regular interval. So that is the first thing which helps us to be accident-free. Then what we are doing, we have done the quantitative risk assessment, HAZOP, all those analyses we have done for the station and the buses. So we have designed the system as per that. Thirdly, what we are doing the operators, we are giving the operators training actually, how to deal with fire, how to deal with hydrogen, actually regular training we are giving. And there are fire drill also we regularly do, so that if there is any mishap, so it can take care of, the operators can take care of those. So with those efforts, I think we are going accident free in our R&D campus, and in our, even in refinery also, they are using hydrogen. In a hydrocracker, they use hydrogen at high temperature, like 400 degrees centigrade at 200 bar. That is also accident free actually. It can happen some, but we are following all the SOPs, all the standard protocols, and I will request to the user of hydrogen, so you do the follow-up with respect to the standards, and we have take approval from regulatory agencies like PESOs. So all the stations are PESO approved stations. So these steps help us to handle the safety care of hydrogen. Thank you.
Thank you. And I think we should give a round of applause that since 2005, no accident had occurred. IOCL had followed all the safety measures, because once a small incident occurs, then the fear factor comes into the mind, and people pull out of those particular projects. So that's great that from 2005 you have been working on it. And just out of context, I remember that when the para commandos, from the aircraft, they falls during the training, and by mistake or by anything mishap occurred with any para commando, then all those commandos again go with the leader, and next day they jump again from the same flight to just make a feeling of perception that everything is okay, and our will is always there. So fear factor is a big thing which should be killed whenever we are working on any project. So thank you, Tapan. And now, Shyam sir, just to know, again, same question I'm posing about the pricing and all those things. just how do you see vendor development will play a major role? Because anyway, NGHM is pumping up 19,000 CR in the economy. Private players are coming. Everybody is coming for green hydrogen. So how do this vendor, like in the case of solar, the cost has drastically reduced. So just any of views on the pricing of particular green hydrogen?
Thank you, Dr. Ritesh. I'll try to extend the narrative, whatever I have just given in my previous assertion. So I would say that since there are two different grades, I would say under the green, that is either low carbon or almost zero carbon. I won't say that zero, but below 0.5 kg per kg of hydrogen or beyond. So first and foremost thing we need to understand that let us grade the hydrogen in terms of carbon intensity, and that too after unified kind of definition that can evolve by the intervention of various agencies, be it in India or abroad. And India has been pioneer in terms of having all the diplomacy in terms of creating various institutions like Global Biofuel Alliance or something of that kind. Probably we need to create something in the similar line in the name of Green Chemicals or Green Molecules Alliance at the global scale, and which will act as the catalyst in order to have the uniform definition. And that will bring a lot of optimization in most of the projects in tune with whatever the carbon intensity we are aspiring for. Because world is absolutely divided in terms of its carbon intensity in the green molecule, be it hydrogen, what we are talking about, or we can say green methanol, green ammonia, e-fuels, be it DME, or that can be routed to LPG, or e-gasoline, e-petrol. So all these kind of various pathways can be opened up if we define clearly that what kind of carbon intensity a country wants and how that will be priced in terms of green premium. So what is the difference fundamentally? Green versus non-green. Non-green we all have been using since ages. It is not like something new for us. What we are aspiring for is to reduce the carbon intensity. So instead of talking about various shades, hues of hydrogen or various molecules, let's talk about only attached to carbon intensity. So that's the kind of graded approach we need to adopt in everything, be it industry as a whole while talking bilaterally with the another B2B level, or it is G2G level or G2B level, whatever you are talking. That should be the theme, be it regulation, be it pricing negotiation. So that will definitely bring down the cost depending upon the kind of net zero targets either industries have taken or government at the national level has taken, or it may be any other country. So when I say world is divided, the way I look at it, of course, that is my own personal assessment. Japan, particularly Asian countries, are having slightly longer time. If you're talking European countries, they are more stringent, and they are also offering cap and trade at the same time carrot and stick. So that's their approach. In US or American countries, predominantly, we can say that they are offering much more aggressive incentive because they are more focused towards supply. So if that is the kind of scenario we see, so market is predominantly for India in order to pursue their ambition to become export hub, like we have been witnessing in terms of petroleum products. In order to continue that legacy, we need to understand predominantly Asian market and European market, keeping American market in view. So if that's the kind of approach we adopt, then what happens? India can try to create a market ecosystem domestically around low carbon, which may be as per whatever the definition we have. But if we can have that kind of system where it is unified, particularly in Asian countries or European countries, probably we can create the export market where we can leverage more green premium. So starting with low premium to high premium under this green premium probably will definitely start acting as a catalyst for all the technologies, all the developments to have the place. And if that is well staged, even the incentives, which is almost straightforward as of now. As my another colleague was talking about NHM and rest of the other 10 means tranches which is coming through SECI or MNRE. So they all talk about whatever the production that is based on 2 kg plus per kg of hydrogen. Can we grade it in accordance with the carbon intensity? Once it is done, probably rest of the technologies, while they are using, they will start producing more shades of hydrogen with the carbon intensity. That what will happen over there, it will lead to have more capacity utilization, more optimization of the assets, because if you are going to comply with RFNBO or whatever the delegated acts that is stating to you, it means your capacity utilization will be less at the cost of more capex. And that is how your overall per kg of hydrogen will be more expensive. So that's the kind of probably scheme of things we need to look at. Apart from that, probably one of the most important aspects which we have not touched upon is the availability of capex, and that has to be aligned with the taxonomy, with the global standard, and that is also very much required so that all the participation of global investors should also keep on coming out here. Of course, time is limited, but towards the addressing the question at the high level, probably these are the nuances we need to look at to start with. As we grow, probably rest of the other aspects will definitely come to the fore. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And I think whatever points you have raised, Mr. Utkarsh will be able to answer a few of them. Sir, how do you see this carbon certification mandates in different geographies? You know, how your business is driven with it? Or you can expand that, in your views on that.
Yeah, I mean, I'll substantiate some of the points that my fellow panelist has made. Just to add on to it further, in Europe, now this is mainly about the export market now we are talking about and how we can become competitive. And at the same time, we develop our projects to meet all these needs. So for our export projects, say for example, all these projects, all this demand which is coming from these markets like Europe, South Korea or Japan, it's all driven by, as of now, by contract for difference schemes that are announced by this, the governments of these respective regions. What happens is that, these each of them have their own certification mechanism of, identifying the carbon intensity levels. And like in Europe, as he rightly pointed out, it's RFNBO, wherein you have to, it's quite detailed in terms of, how, whether the renewable power that you are generating, you have to match it with the production on monthly and eventually on hourly basis. And which they call as temporal correlation. Similarly, some kind of geographic correlation between how, where you are injecting the power and where you are drawing it. So a lot of detailing is there in their certification. Similar in case, but broadly it means that they want, and what they want in their carbon intensity for their GHG reduction, it is it's from well to wheel, basically from cradle to grave, and so it's quite stringent that way. Whereas for Far East Asia market, it's more the calculation will be done from well to gate. It's more production specific rather than till the end consumer point. So now, as a developer, how I design, configure my system to ensure that either I do it in a modular way, wherein certain this particular phase of the project will be for this particular region, and this phase is for this region. So it's quite a challenging task, as in South Korea has a certification scheme called KEEI. It's Korea Energy Efficiency Institute, which is basically drafting this, giving this certificate, whereas Europe has a different certificate. So the same project, two different phases, at the same location, I have to get two certification for exporting it to different markets. So it's a challenge, but it's a fact that, if it is harmonization of the standards, if it is possible, I mean, then it would be great. But but let's see how this develops. But as of now, as a developer, what I can do is that I have to either develop my projects in a phase, in different phases, or in a modular way. Thereby, I can serve both the markets and meeting their certification standards. So the European ones will be, the molecules sold to Europe will be more expensive as probably the molecules sold to Far East Asia. So, but that is a fact as of now, and as I said earlier, that it's driven as of now, their demand by their contract for different schemes. So their premium is being, taken care by the respective governments, the premium between the grey and green. So let's see how this evolves. But yes, having a single certification scheme would be an ideal thing for, for a developer to, manage the exports.
Thank you, sir. And now we have few questions from the audience. You can see them on the screen there. And I'll just take first the last question. What are the issues in blending green hydrogen in natural gas network? And how much volume can be safely blended and how it affects the pipeline? I think he has joined 3 questions in a single question. But nevertheless, Tapan sir, if you can share.
So I think studies are going on blending of, because as you have listened the earlier session, transportation of hydrogen through pipeline will be cheaper, and already we have the pipeline infrastructure for CNG transportation. So studies are going on hydrogen mix CNG transportation, and I think GAIL and Indian Oil is working with an Italian company to do the study. I think when the results will come, we will be able to understand. But the prima facie of the result, what I have understood that few pipelines are suitable in the country for hydrogen transportation with up to might be 16% or 20%, and few are not so suitable. And as far as ACNG, hydrogen blended CNG is concerned, actually we have developed this technology, hydrogen blended CNG production and utilization in IC's engine. And if you see the earlier report, like in 2021, at Rajghat depot, 50 buses were running with hydrogen blended CNG, which contains about 18% of hydrogen. And those buses were the CNG buses. So without any modification of the storage vessels or the engines, those buses were running. That was the project was directed by Honorable Supreme Court, and Indian Oil was doing the project in association with IGL, because IGL is the gas supplier in Delhi. So in that project, what we observed, that the buses which are suitable, the tubes which are suitable for CNG, after 6 months of operation, whatever the result was that their bus emissions were less, efficiency were high, but the tubings, there is no deterioration we observed with respect to the storage vessel and the buses along with the tubes. So that's the thing. So I hope throughout the globe also, people are doing many studies on transportation of hydrogen blended with CNG in their pipeline network. I think within 1 or 2 years, the results will be clear to everyone. And accordingly, government will take steps to direct the gas transportation companies like Indian Oil or GAIL to do the necessary actions.
Thank you, sir. Do you want to add something, sir?
Yeah. I would say that in brief, the moment we talk about this hydrogen blended CNG, there are 2 components to it. One is whether we want to consume as blended hydrogen, or we want to use hydrogen by separating out of natural gas. So while blended, probably if we go beyond, let's say, 2-3%, then that is very much applicable for all the sectors, be it your cooking sector is for heating, or it is being used for transport. Beyond this percentage, let's say, if take the example of transport sector, if it is new vehicle, probably it may accommodate much more higher percentage blended in CNG. But if you're talking about the masses where overall profile of the vehicle is quite diverse, some are 2 years old, some are maybe 15 years old, and there you are trying to have the blending more than 2% or 5%, there has been several challenges over there, and that is where the problem lies in. The moment you increase hydrogen blending, the engine, because of the very virtue of high octane value, high energy value of hydrogen, it starts giving the knocking effect. And that is where we need to have the alignment, where we can start modifying on the down-rolling basis of the vehicle, which can have the higher capacity. That is the point I just wanted to make, because there is a difference, and so is the case in cooking sector as well. If you go beyond, there is a wobbling index of the flame because of high energy. That goes up, so you cannot go beyond 5%. So that's the kind of challenge that needs to be addressed through the technology intervention so that higher blending could be possible in CNG.
Thank you for such a great technical insight about this particular question. And your wobbling experience you're just telling about 5%, you know. And let us take the second question. This is about biomass has been used in paper manufacturing, you know, in northern India, and is it possible to collaborate or take learnings? Basically, when you are talking about a paper mill, they just make a slurry out of biomass. So we are talking about, it is possible, this paper mill concept is possible when you are making 2G ethanol, second generation ethanol, because in that case, lignin cellulose and hemicellulose are separated. When you're talking about green hydrogen, the two ways are you're reforming or pyrolysis. So in both the cases, definitely you want a dry biomass for pyrolysis and even for the gasification, because it will otherwise be a penalty on your latent heat. So, and learnings are definitely, you can take any learning from anywhere. So I think the time is, we should only take the two questions.
Yeah.
So if any other question is there, I suppose you can ask all the panelists in the lunch session. Sir.
So do you wish to ask any question right now? Okay.
Okay, we can take.
So maybe we can take the questions post-lunch in the next discussion.
Okay.
So for now, do you want to wind up the particular discussion, sir?
Okay, she's giving the mic, I suppose. We can give the mic to him if he's so particular about the question.
Okay, no problem.
Sir, please, can you introduce and just...
So thank you very much. It was a nice presentation and insight in details by Mr. Tapan Bera ji and Shyam Gupta ji and you, Mr. Mehta. I wanted to think see, one is that hydrogen in transportation, safety in transportation is the biggest issue. And we are unable to, of course, the standards are coming, you are telling ISO. My theme is also in asset integrity is ISO 55,000. Well, all the regulations will come in one place, ISO 55,000. So I am looking at whether in hydrogen, green hydrogen, considering the economics as well as that affordability and viability, the safety issues. Whether some standards has come and that is in vogue as per the Biofuel Alliance or maybe in India. What is the latest? Thank you very much.
Biofuel Alliance, you mean to say Global Biofuel Alliance, GBA?
Yes. Because it has to be approved now that hydrogen...
No, that is true, but GBA is in a very nascent stage, I suppose. It's just, it was declared in G20 in New Delhi. And
recently also there was a conference in which where all the heads of the state countries, they have come and they have discussed
Right, but the Secretariat had started working recently in Delhi. GBA has not been...
Because unless the approval is coming, we are not able to go ahead in the commercial. I'm talking about the commercial grade of hydrogen, commercial. You can use in the vehicles, or maybe you can operate the trains also hydrogen, or maybe that transportation.
Sir, I think MOTH has already declared hydrogen as a transportation fuel.
Yeah.
And there are many standards with respect to BIS, PESO, and OISD. Almost 50 or 60 standards they are giving with respect to quality, production quality, and then safety. All the standards are there, and the manufacturer, users are following the standards. Otherwise, you will not get regulatory approval to run those buses, to operate a station, to operate a hydrogen infrastructure.
Sir, I'm talking of economics, economics, yeah.
Economics-wise, I am saying, sir, hydrogen is a costly fuel. But if you still see 1 kg of CNG in a heavy duty vehicle, it runs 2 kilometers, and 1 kg of hydrogen, it runs about 14 kilometers. So that is one way, and more because hydrogen has a higher calorific value. But still, as my panelists said, other panelists, gray or blue hydrogen is cheaper compared to green hydrogen. So let's start with gray or blue hydrogen. Let's develop the economy. It's like an egg and chicken conundrum. So if the system is developed, I think automatically the cost of green hydrogen will go down, and government is giving stage on green hydrogen specifically because we need a sustainable future. Because if you produce gray or blue hydrogen, still it will be from carbonaceous fuel. We have to import crude or gas. So you want the self-sustainable India.
Peso gives you only up to 18%.
Sir, we can
hydrogen.
elaborate in lunch
thank
because of the paucity of time. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone. And I apologize to the delegates. Due to the shortage of time, we cannot accommodate all the questions. I once again like to thank you all, our panelists and the moderator, for enlightening our audience on the potential of green hydrogen. May I now request on stage Mr. Kulbir Singh, advisor, Messe Frankfurt, India, to kindly join me to felicitate our panelists. People may have a round of applause for our amazing discussion we just had. May I request Dr. Tapan Bera to kindly come forward for the felicitation. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for being here. May I request the audience to have a round of applause for our panelists. Thank you so much. May I request Mr. Shyam Gupta to kindly come forward for the felicitation. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for being here. May I now request Mr. Utkarsh Mehta to kindly come forward for the felicitation. And may I now request our dynamic moderator of the discussion, Dr. Ritesh Mittal, to kindly come forward for the felicitation. May I request all the gentlemen on the stage to come together for a photo op. Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone. And thanks to all of our panelists and the moderator for this enlightening discussion on the potential of green hydrogen.